everybody, it's Rachel from Handmade You. Today I was going to show you a quick tutorial on making some notebooks for your Quiltdori, your Fauxdori, Fauxdori, Midori, whatever kind of notebook dory you have. You probably have tried to make a notebook to include inside. And I have a couple of different ideas of things that you can use to create those notebooks. And I just was going to show you, I had made a number of different notebooks to include in my smaller Quiltdoris. This one I used just some cardstock with different papers, just different textures to go inside. Different kinds of cardstock ephemera that I had, and just regular old cardstock with some old book paper. So these were kind of standard ideas, just kind of whatever you had on hand. And when I created my Big Dreams Quiltdori, the larger size, I thought maybe I have some other ideas. I know that the larger moleskins fit really well in this size, but I also came across some of these old note cards, greeting cards that I had that I really didn't have a purpose for, and I thought that this looked like a really cute notebook cover. So I went ahead and found some old note cards that I had and added in just copy paper and paper I had on hand to create a really cute little notebook. So this one fit really well in this size Quiltdori, and so I thought I would kind of scour around to see what greeting cards I had laying around to create some additional ones for my my original size Quiltdori. So I just created this one to show. This was an artist's greeting card that Pam Caravori had made a number of these when she taught at Handmade You, and did vendor night, and she sold some of these greeting cards. It has her artwork printed out in color, and I just really couldn't part with these yet, and I thought how fun to make a little notebook, and then I have her artwork on the cover, which is really great. So I went ahead and just made this little notebook to include in this Quiltdori. So I was going to show you how I made those, and one other idea as well. So what you do is you find some other greeting cards, and I have this little one that says, I know, right? Stella has nothing on my new kitten heels. So it's just a cute retro little card, and I don't know exactly what kind of occasion I would have to send this, but I thought it was cute with the retro girl. So I thought I would go ahead and make a little notebook out of this to include in my Quiltdori. So what I'm going to do is I picked out some paper, and when you're making the notebooks, you grab whatever kind of paper that you have on hand, and you're going to be folding it to the size that you're going to want the inside to be. We're going to have probably some trimming to do, but really all that you need to do is I usually take 2 pages or so at a time. 2 to 3 if you're going to try and get a nice crease. Otherwise, you're going to have a little bit harder time. They do have, Martha Stewart has a tool that I use sometimes. It's a board with lines, and you can score the crease before you fold it, and that gives you an easier time to fold. But this works just as well. So what you do is you go ahead and fold all your pages, and then you put them together. And I went ahead and did that. I'm going to make 2 different notebooks for you. So I went ahead and pre-folded all of these pages so you don't have to watch me. So what you're going to do is you're going to be putting them inside. And what typically, if you're going to use a smaller notebook cover, your note card may be too wide for that. So 2 ways to do it. You can go ahead and trim your pages and get them in the notebook, and then trim the whole thing, which is what I'm going to do. Or you can trim your note card first and then the pages, but I'm just going to do it all at once, I think. So what I'll do first, though, is make sure that the width or the height is okay. And I think this will work perfectly. So I don't have to trim the height down except on the pages. So I'm going to go ahead and trim these pages down. And I'm just going to draw a little bit of a line here so I know where to cut. And what I'm going to use, I have a self-healing mat on my table so I don't cut into my table. And I'm going to go ahead and use a rotary cutter since I have that handy, and just line this up and use my ruler. Make sure that's going to be square. And then I typically stand up. I'm not going to do that as I'm doing this, but I stand up a little bit to give myself some leverage, especially if you're doing a thicker notebook. I have about 8 or so sheets of paper, so 16 pages or so, so it's not too difficult to cut through, but depending on how big your notebook is, you might want to stand up and give yourself some leverage. Okay, so I have my width or my height all ready to go. It's going to fit perfectly in the notebook. So you find the middle, and this is probably the best investment I made in notebook creating, is this stapler that has this arch here. So this is perfect to put your note cards or your notebook in so that you can get a really nice fit. Oops, I don't have the middle. Make sure you have the middle and line your pages up, and then you just push down to make sure that you've got the middle, and then you just go ahead and staple it, and it's going to be perfectly positioned on the edge of your note card. Sure. And you can just get the ends and then the middle, depending on how big your notebooks are. I usually do 3 staples, so you can see perfectly the staples are on there. Okay, so you almost are done here. If you want to measure, kind of get an idea of how wide you want your notebook to be, and I'm going to just cut off a little bit here. It doesn't have to be perfectly on the edge, but it can be a little bit shorter. So just decide on how long you'd like that. Now line this up so you make sure it's going to be square, and I'm just going to cut this much off, and I'm going to sand up to make sure that I get a great cut, and I'm going to be very careful not to cut my fingers. And then before I move my hand, I make sure that I've got all the little edges off, and then I have my little notebook. And I'm going to go ahead and add this to my Quiltdori and make sure that the size is okay. So when you put it in, you can see it kind of pushes out. So I actually need to make this a little bit shorter. So I'm going to cut this one more time. I don't really have a formula. I just kind of work it to make sure that it fits the way I'd like to have it fit. Usually have to go over this twice. There we go. All right, so let's see if we got a better fit. There you have it. It fits perfectly. Might be a little bit taller than I'd like, but actually I could go back in and trim the top down if I wanted to, but you could get the idea. Got a really cute little note card cover, notebook cover, and handmade notebooks for your Quiltdori. The last idea I wanted to share with you quickly is whether or not maybe you don't have any greeting cards, but you have a lot of postcards on hand. So I have a couple others that I kind of was hoarding. Lisa Lund was another instructor at Handmade You a few years ago. and she sold some postcards that I bought one of. And then Hope Wallace also was a teacher, and she had these really cute cards. I think she gave me one of these. I think they're just really pretty. So I decided that it would be really cute to create a little notebook out of postcards. So you can do the same sort of thing by creating the pages, but what you'll do first, you're going to need to attach these together. So I'm going to use washi tape, and you can use whatever kind of tape that you have on hand. Maybe you have some really cute duct tape. Might work probably a little bit better, be a little bit stronger, but I think the washi tape should be fine too. So just go ahead and tape half of it on your postcard on the front, and then you're going to pick that up and make sure that you have the edge. You may want to use a little bit thinner washi tape to not cover up so much of the postcard, but it's actually, you can see through it, so I think that's fine for this. Okay, then cut off the ends so you have a cute little postcard. And then what I'll do is take the pages that I went ahead and pre-folded, but it was the same process to fold those, and then I'm going to determine how tall I want these pages to be, so that I can go ahead and trim these the paper down. I'll do this quickly so you can see how it looks with the postcards. And when I'm done, I'll have really quickly a few fun new notebooks to use in my Quiltdoris. Okay. So I'm going to take my pages, much like I did, and again, you're going to see I'm going to need to do some trimming. I'm going to go ahead and wait till I staple them together. So I'm going to fold these in, and then I'm going to use my stapler again and staple these. So it's going to be right through the washi tape. And I always just give an extra push down to make sure that the pages, the paper inside is getting squished down so it's perfectly flat. And then I will see how much I need to cut off. So what I'll do is I'm just going to take this one out for now and fit this in to get a better idea before I cut it the first time how much I need to cut off of it. Okay, so when this is closed, it's going to be a little bit of the postcard that needs to be trimmed off. So I'm going to go ahead and try and just do that one time this time. And again, I'm going to use my ruler. I'm just going to trim just a little bit off the edges. I'm going to push hard on my ruler so it doesn't move on me. I'm going to move the paper and make sure I'm cutting it all. And looks like I have a new notebook. So I'm going to go ahead and try and put this one in. And there you have it. So I have a really cute little note card with two of my Handmade You teachers' artwork on the front and the back, which I think is just so much fun, and then Pam's card that I had made earlier. So that's just a really unique way to kind of personalize the notebooks that you have in your Quiltdori. I hope you have fun making some of your own. Thanks.